Hi! Now, as most of you know, I'm originally from the Netherlands and Dutch is my native language, and I've made some videos in the past called Dutch Speakwords, where I basically make some of my non-Dutch friends guess weird Dutch expressions. Now this is a slightly different variation of this, where I've just been collecting some Dutch words that I think are quite funny or interesting, and I wanted to share them with you. And I'm going to start with one that is quite a basic one, and a lot of Dutch people will say it's their favourite word, and it is the one that you sometimes see floating around Tumblr in like interesting words from foreign languages, and the word is gezellig. The way I describe it to people is that this word sort of describes an atmosphere that to me looks like a garden party, bunting and drinks and lots of friends. A lot of people will describe it as cozy. It's not quite what it is because it doesn't really imply like warm and fireplace. It just means it is a fun atmosphere. It's a place where you have good company. For example, you could see a restaurant and say that it looks really gezellig. Or you went to a birthday party and people will ask you what it was like and you'll say, oh, it was really gezellig. The next one is just quite a quick one and I thought it was quite funny. And it is the word handschoenen, which happens to be the Dutch word for gloves. Now literally translated, it means hand shoes. Hand shoes. Then the core of an apple is called a klokhuis, which basically is two words combined and they are clock and house. A little clock house. By the way, the Dutch language has a tendency to have words stuck together. For example, Monday morning, maandagochtend, is one word, which means that in the process of learning English, I have lost all concept of what should be one word and what should be two. Okay, then next we have uitwaaien. Uitwaaien, and if you want to literally translate that, the first word is out and the second one is to blow, as in the wind, and this verb basically means to go outside and walk in the wind to sort of let all your worries be blown away. But you can also just have it when you're sitting inside, everything's feeling a bit musty and you're like, let's go to the beach, let's go for a walk, to be like properly windswept. Okay, two more left. The next one is a particular favorite of mine and it is mierenneuker, which literally translated means ant fucker. Now you might want to guess what that means. It's basically someone who is obsessed with tiny details. Might be surprising, but it's not that much of an offensive term really. And then finally there is a word that when I say it will sound familiar but won't mean exactly what you think it does, and it is acorn. Now this is the Dutch word for squirrel. I don't know the history behind this, but I can only assume that a Dutch person and an English person met up, saw a squirrel in the distance, holding an acorn. English guy pointed in the general direction and said acorn. Dutch person thought, got it. Acorn. Alright, that's quite a short video. If you're interested in seeing more of these, do let me know because I find them quite interesting. I studied translation in case you didn't know, so I am all over this kind of stuff. I'm sure that your language will have some crazy words as well that sort of overlap like this or have funny meanings. So if you have some of those, do leave them in the comments and I will talk to you guys later. Doei!
Hello, me cool.